All right, let's turn our attention now to other stories. Nigeria's former Chief Justice of the Federation, Mohammed Uwais, is dead. He died at the age of 89. Mohammed Uwais served as Chief Justice of Nigeria from 1995 to 2006. He was widely respected for his steadfast commitment to judicial reform and the protection of judicial independence throughout his tenure. The family confirmed his death in a brief statement, as funeral rites is scheduled to take place immediately after Jumat prayers today at the National Mosque in Abuja. Now let's tell you what we know about the former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Mohammed Uwais, in this next report.
Mohammed Uwais, born 12th of June 1936, is a Nigerian jurist who was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria from 1995 to 2006. He was called to the bar by the Middle Temple, London, in 1963 after graduating from the University of London. He served as a senior state counsel between 1966 to 1970, before his appointment as a judge of the High Court and later Chief Judge of Kaduna State between 1973 to 1976. In 1977, he was appointed a Justice of the Court of Appeal, and in 1979 as a Justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. In 1995, he was appointed Chief Justice of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Chairman of the National Judicial Council. Justice Uwais has served as Chairman, Nigeria Body of Benches between 1993 to 1994 and as Chairman, Board of Governors of the National Judicial Institute of Nigeria between 1995 to 2006. He was Chairman of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the awards of contracts by the military government of North Central States in 1976. Chairman of the Jimeta Disturbances Tribunal, Gongola State of Nigeria in 1984, and a Commonwealth member of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry into the death of senior army personnel Sri Lanka in 1993. He was the Honorary President of the World Jurists Association, Washington, D.C., Honorary Fellow of the Society for Advanced Legal Studies, London, and a member of the Board of Trustees, Global Legal Information Network Foundation. He was also Chairman of the Nigeria Electoral Reform Committee in 2007 and was appointed the Chancellor of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua University in Katsina State in 2011. He chaired a commission that published a much-publicized report on electoral reform. Uwais is the son of the Chief Alkali and later Waziri of Zaria Emirate. After retiring from the Supreme Court, he chaired a panel on electoral reform that submitted a report on the 11th of December 2008 with recommendations that included establishing commissions to deal with electoral offences, constituency delimitation, and political parties registration and regulation. Some of the power vested in the Independent National Electoral Commission and the State Independent Electoral Commissions would be transferred to the new commissions. The committee recommended proportional representation in elections to the federal and state legislatures and to the local government councils. The report also recommended that the head of the Independent National Electoral Commission should be appointed by the judiciary rather than the president.
And for more on this development, we are joined by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Kunle Adegoke. He joins me on the news this hour via phone. Good to have you join us. So just looking at the, listening to that report by, a reporter there, you find how his wealth of experience and just his contribution to Nigeria. I just want to get your reaction to his death and what this means, not just for the legal profession, but for us as a country.
Right. Thank you very much. The sudden announcement received this morning about the demise of the Honorable Justice Mohammed Uwais is a shocking blow to every Nigerian who has had the opportunity of getting to know the kind of a person that his lordship was, either on the bench or outside the bench. And this morning receiving this shocking news has proven that Nigerians actually revere their worthy leaders and they appreciate the contributions of individuals like Mohammed Uwais, the Honorable Justice who has just passed away this morning. His lordship represented one of the finest brains from the Nigerian legal firmament who contributed immensely to the development of Nigerian law and the interest of justice in dispensing same to the mass of the people. The contributions of his lordship on the pages of the Nigerian law reports definitely show that here was a man who lived for justice, who rendered justice, and who did justice to all who came his lordship's ways without fear or favor. And outside the bench, his lordship continued to contribute to the development of Nigeria. I could remember in 2007, after the electoral debacle that affected Nigeria tremendously as a result of the perpetration of mindless rigging by the powers that be in those days. His lordship was chosen as a person of high integrity to review the Nigerian electoral misdeeds and fortunes and to make appropriate recommendations to save the future from such mindless perpetrations on the mass of the people. And his lordship did not fail in making adequate and fundamental recommendations that every Nigerian who had the opportunity of perusing the pages of the recommendations actually agreed.
And Mr. Adegoke, that's the thing, because even for those who have read it, for those in this generation and for those who may never meet him, you would at some point they would at some point in their lifetime, read about the Uwais report, and so his name will reverberate in the history of Nigeria. And I just wanted to ask, in that line, what sort of legacy he leaves behind, and what other CJNs can learn from the kind of Chief Justice that he was.
Right. He was a Chief Justice who presided over the Nigerian Supreme Court without any form of bias to his colleagues, and who led the apex courts to the satisfaction and admiration of not only members of the bench, but equally to the majority of Nigerians who had one case or another to do at the Nigerian Supreme Court. And you will recall that all through the tenure of his lordship, there were scandals like have been happening in recent times. Yes, there have been allegations in recent times about some negative things emanating from the Supreme Court. But the period of his lordship were days that everybody will still commend largely. There is no regime, there is no individual that will not have a negative record. But to the best of my recollection, I cannot remember immediately something that somebody, could say about his lordship as a deliberate contribution to the list of negatives that Nigeria has been flaunting for quite a while. He was a man of noble character. He was a man of high integrity, a man who held his shoulders and head high above all clouds of indiscretion that have been, affecting the public service in recent times. He retired from the bench with accolades and commendations every judicial officer would like to emulate.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure that the legal profession will find its way to honor him. We've been speaking with Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Kayode Ajulo. Thank you for your time.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much.